Hello everyone, Raptor101 here. Today I'm going to do a video on how I would have done Rexy's character in Jurassic World Dominion. First, something I did want to do with Rexy's character is have her fight the Therizinosaurus. Now here's how I think I would do the fight. So, right after the Therizinosaurus bitch slaps the deer to the next century, we all know that Claire crawls into the water with the Therizinosaurus sniffing the water and roars into it looking for Claire. However, it eventually loses interest and walks off. After it walks off, here is when I would change it up a little bit. As we all know, Claire crawls out of the water and looks around and sees Owen and, the plane where it crashed, but when in my script that would be changed. When she crawls and looks over the log, she wouldn't see the plane. She would see Rexy as she emerges through the forest, smelling the blood of the deer. Rexy wouldn't hesitate to reach down and grab the deer, as it's just a deer. She wouldn't see it as anything she needs to be careful about. However, once she, rolls over the deer to make sure it's safe to eat, she picks it up, and, she's getting ready to just eat or kill. She hears the sound of the Therizinosaurus and turns. The Therizinosaurus would stop eating and turn towards the T-Rex. Rexy would stare down the Therizinosaurus, dropping the deer and roars. The Therizinosaurus, deciding to hold its ground, would roar at Rexy. Rexy, accepting the challenge, would lunge in to be greeted by the Therizinosaurus, slashing her directly in the face. Rexy would pull her face away from the Therizinosaurus's claws and roar back at it. Rexy would start to walk towards the Therizinosaurus confidently, but at the same time carefully. Therizinosaurus stands at almost full height to look more intimidating. When hearing Rexy's footstep, it would roar and ready its claws for combat. Rexy and the Therizinosaurus would begin to circle each other, looking for any weaknesses in the other's defenses. Rexy would lunge in, but to be pushed back by the Therizinosaurus' long arm. But Rexy would tail whip the Therizinosaurus, pushing him back. Rexy would then grab the Therizinosaurus by his neck. As Rexy attempts to break the Therizinosaurus' neck, she loses her footing and both of them go tumbling into the ground. As Rexy attempts to get up, Therizinosaurus slashes Rexy. Rexy responds by grabbing the Therizinosaurus by its hand, but Therizinosaurus slashes Rexy in the face. Rexy would roar at the Therizinosaurus as Thera puts both its hands on Rexy's head and pushes her to the ground. As Thera is pushing Rexy back, eventually Rexy pushes Therizinosaurus off, pushing it to the side and grabbing it by its neck. Claire would watch as Therizinosaurus gets its neck broken by Rexy. Rexy would roar in her victory over the Therizinosaurus. Rexy proceeds to feast on the Therizinosaurus' dead body. This is the end of the battle between Rexy and the Therizinosaurus in Biosin Valley. This battle would be short, but however, it would still be intense. You still not know exactly how it's going to end. And I would do this battle because, well, just to have the T-Rex get another victory in the Jurassic franchise, as well as not having to wait all the way to the end of the movie to see a T-Rex battle like we have to do for like most of the movies in Jurassic franchise. Have to wait to the end to see a good battle with the T-Rex. But instead we have this in the middle of the movie, so that way we can have just a little bit more build up for the T-Rex. And another thing I wanted to do with the T-Rex's character in Jurassic World Dominion is instead of having the Theory fight the Giga to save Rexy, I would have Buck and Doe do it, because they haven't returned in live action ever since The Lost World, so just to have them appear would be pretty shocking, as most people probably think it's Spinosaurus, but to have Buck and Doe would really be a surprise, as well as just to have more T-Rex screen time and just to see kind of, what they look like after all these years, and just to see all these T-Rexes unite against this greater threat. So as we all know in the original script, Rexy was thrown into the pillar, knocking her out, and it seemed like all hope was lost as the Giga stands over his quarry and seems to be ready to finish her off. From being distracted by Ellie Sattler and Alan Grant, he roars at them when a flare is shot, distracting him. But the flare attracts attention of the Buck and Doe, who roar at the Giga. Hearing the roars of the buck and doe wakens Rexy as Rexy proceeds to kick the Giga in the face, knocking him back. This is when Buck T-Rex seeing an opportunity would lunge in for the Giga. However, the Buck T-Rex is too slow. The Giga grasps onto his head and shakes him violently. The doe would grab the Giga by his leg, making him let go of the buck and letting him get away from the Giga's jaws. After the Giga gets the doe off, he looks at the two T-Rexes and begins to walk towards them, both of them roaring as the Giga doesn't know which one to focus on. The Giga wouldn't even realize as he's so distracted on Buck and Doe that Rexy gets up. Rexy and the Buck and Doe all begin to converge on the Giga helpless to hold them back. Rexy would grab the Giga, quickly throwing him into a stone pillar. The Giga slowly begins to get back up and roars at the Buck and Doe as Rexy roars back at the Giga, and soon realizing the Giga, he knows he's too tired and weak to keep fighting, so he just walks off back into Biosyn Valley. Now I decided to make this video into a few parts, so this is part 1. And for the clips of other people's videos, I'll put them in the description below. And I guess like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.